Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Film is Okie Dokie. My name is CJ. Thank you so much for joining us this week, as you do all the time, every week. I was going to say every week, but it's all the time, really, because it's not a weekly show. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague and cohort, Garnaxis III.
Oh, we're staying with that?
You could present me another name, but I wanted to let you know that I did not forget.
Oh, man, you're like an elephant.
Oh, listen, I'm just big boned it, okay? Jesus, you share a bed with someone and then they think they can just fat shame you on the air.
We should talk about us sharing a bed because we got to see each other recently.
You did. It's Tommy, by the way. You're Tommy.
Yes, Tommy. Tommy works.
Tommy works. Tommy Two-Tone. Yeah, we did. We went to Awesome Games Done Quick 2024 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
It was an awesome time.
Yeah.
Awesome. We shared a room there, and we shared a king bed, and we shared even more than that.
I was so anxious about that going into it because I'm like, man, I'm very always worried about like me being a good roommate. So, how was I as a roommate? You can be honest.
You were late on paying the water bill.
Wow.
You left food in the fridge until it got moldy.
Damn. Well, I did have those bagels. That actually did happen.
Oh, the bagels kicked ass.
They were cool. They did get really hard. They didn't get moldy, but they did get hard.
Wasn't the only thing that got hard in our room.
Yeah, I know.
What is this? What bit are you doing right now?
What?
Yeah. But no, GDQ was awesome. It was great to see you, hang out in person again.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a good time. That was a few weeks ago now. I feel like 3 weeks removed from that trip though. We haven't recorded one of these since before that, so we haven't recorded one of these in a while. How you been, CJ?
Good. I had a thing happen to me today. Yeah, we'll talk about it. So I was in a thing and I hit my car hit a pole, right? And so I had to take my car to the other day. Okay. And I had to take my car to the body shop. So, I've been to this body shop a few times. Every time I've ever been in an accident, I go to this body shop because they direct bill with my insurance. By the way, I'm totally okay. The car's basically okay, but my car's a lease, and so you have to get it fixed.
I wasn't concerned about you. I was mostly concerned about the car, but go on.
Okay, thank you. No, I'm bleeding from the head. No, so the car has a cracked bumper, which is repairable. And basically they call it a texture. It's a lower bumper cover piece, which is this black textured plastic that goes beneath the bumper. It just makes the car look a little sportier, gives it a little more edge, a little more trim. And that piece was scratched. There really isn't any way to do that. It's not painted at all. So you just order a new piece. So I went there and I got an estimate. I'm waiting for the guy to come out. I got there. I had a 7:30 appointment. That was when they opened. I got there at 7:30. And the young lady at the counter says, "Oh, don't worry. Just he'll be out in a few minutes. We just literally just opened. So why don't you just have a seat?" So it's this big room. It's big tiled room, high ceilings. It's like a pretty nice facsimile of every body shop you've ever been to, but nicer. It had like an old timey popcorn machine. They had HGTV on the television. It's nice white tiled floor, big furniture, big facade, big sign, nice desks. It's a nice place. And all lots of glass, very kind of
Where was this glass just sitting loose on the floor?
No, like lots of windows. Lots of windows.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So she points to this other side of the room, and there's two chairs and a coffee table in between. Now, the last time I was there was a leather couch, and that couch was terrible. I sank through the floor, I swear. You'd sit in this thing, and all the give that it had to give was gone. It was just it was worn out, right? Like an old rubber band. And they had these leather upholstered chairs, like no arms on them, kind of like easy chairs almost. with no arms. And they're very cushiony looking. And one of them, and they're oversized. One of them has a sign on it, taped to it. It says, "Do not sit, use other chair." Okay? So that's the chair on the left. Then there's the coffee table, then there's the chair on the right. So I said, okay, I can't sit on the left chair. I sit on the right chair. So I sit down, and within seconds, the thing implodes. I crash through to the floor. The chair is everywhere. The legs kicked out in front of me. The leather upholstery ripped. There's polyfill in the air. Like, I feel like I nuked this thing. I hit the detonation on it, and I just was consumed in chair. And so the young lady comes like scurrying out from behind the desk, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And she gets about 5 feet from me, and she covers her mouth. And I'm like, "Oh my God, like what's wrong?" She goes, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I put the sign on the wrong chair."
Oh.
I feel like I got hit with a Looney Tunes bit.
I was gonna say, up until that point, that like it sounds like something out of like a Impractical Jokers or something. Like they just set up one chair that's like, don't sit on this one, but this one's also broken. But oh my God, only you that would happen to.
Right around the corner from the eye doctor. Right around the corner from the eye doctor, which I also the other day had an appointment, and I got there when they told me to get there, and then they were like, "Oh, sorry, you're late because you have to get here 15 minutes before your appointment." How can you be somewhere 15 minutes before your appointment if your appointment is at when the place opens? I was standing out in front of on the door on the sidewalk, and they're like, "No, sir, you have to be here 15 minutes early." And I swear to, they gave away my appointment.
Really?
I had to get the second appointment.
Man, I'd be throwing a brick through their window.
I don't remember the end of the story, but I took a fistful of breath mints. They had breath mints on the counter. And I took them. I was so mad at them at the end because they did some other stuff where they charged me all this extra money. And I was so mad. I took like a fistful of breath mints and I stormed out. And I go in the parking lot, and I open one, and I put it in my mouth, and it was fucking pineapple. So I threw the breath mints out. I was like, "Oh, man, damn."
You showed them.
Yeah.
You.
Now, joke's on me. I have to go back there in like 5 days to get my new glasses.
And they're gonna, "Hey, you're the guy who took all our pineapples."
You're the guy who took all the lifesavers. Yeah. I don't care. Listen, yellow can go either way. It can either be pineapple or lemon. I was hoping it was lemon. It wasn't.
That's so funny.
So I've had a couple weeks. How about you? How have you been?
I've been really good. I've been super, super busy. Just doing life stuff. I went to Disney on Ice with my niece and nephew recently.
You didn't tell me that.
It was crazy, dude. Lightning McQueen showed up. He was driving around on the ice. They didn't put ice skates on him before you ask.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
It was a car? Or it was two dudes in a car?
No, it was a car. They just straight up, Lightning McQueen and Tow Mater just drove out on the ice.
That just doesn't seem safe for the people.
It was crazy. They were doing donut. They were going 60. There was 0 safety rails. There were kids sitting front row. It was wild.
I got killed by Lightning McQueen, mommy.
And it was worth it. No, it was super fun. Just in general, been super busy. Yesterday had a bunch of people over. Not a bunch. In total, there were 6 people here. It was me, my roommate, my girlfriend, and a few friends. Watched the Super Bowl just to immediately date when we recorded this compared to when it eventually releases.
We did watch the Super Bowl yesterday.
Yeah. We did watch it. This is actually the Thursday after the Super Bowl when it happened, though. We both recorded it and had Super Bowl parties on Wednesday, and then today, Thursday, we're recording it. We're recording this.
I don't know where you're going with the bit, but I don't know what bit you're doing. I have a very important question about the Super Bowl for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a party.
Yeah.
You served food at this party.
Yeah.
Presumably. I don't want to assume. You served food to your guests.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Chips. Were there chips?
There were chips, although
hang on.
Okay.
I'm a stern believer in the 2-chip philosophy.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready.
You get a corn chip, and you get a Lay's wavy, and that's it.
Okay. So like a tortilla chip?
Yeah.
And
like Ruffles or
Ruffles,
wavy. Yeah.
Just a regular Ruffles.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because you can blow your brains out spending money on big chip corporations, but the flavor comes from the dip.
All right. So if I'm being honest, if I'm at a place and they have potato chips and they just have plain potato chips, I'm fucking putting my hand through a wall. If you're gonna do potato chips, I was with you. You said 2-chip rule, two whatever rule, and I was with you until you counted tortilla chips as one of the types of chips. To me, tortilla is entirely separately from potato chip. If you have tortilla chip, if you're having salsa. Yesterday we had tortillas and tortilla chip and salsa.
Salsa, you gotta get some guac.
Yeah. We didn't do guac. We just did salsa.
My roommate makes, but the dips are the stars.
No, but if it's potato chips, if you can't have just plain potato chips,
watch me.
You have to have plain and flavored.
No,
and you can't have just flavored. You have to have flavored and plain.
You are falling into the trap of big potato. This is what they want you to do. They want you to spend $6 on a bag of pickle chips. And then someone has two.
No, you someone get like has barbecue.
2, and then the bag goes to waste. Because who wants to eat chips out of the bag like 4 days later?
Well, that's why you get a good flavor like barbecue and not pickles. And then people will actually eat the bag and there won't be any left.
Listen, I had this problem with pizza. When I used to have Super Bowl parties.
Hold on a second.
The flavors.
Pizza and chips are not the same. You cannot say you solved your chip problem because of pizza.
I'm doing a tit for tat problem. It's a parable. I'm coming back to the chips. Whatever. I'm coming back to the chips, okay?
Whatever. I'm playing this game under protest. Go on.
So, my family can't agree on shit. And when I used to have to order pizza for the Super Bowl party, my big Super Bowl parties they used to throw, they would be like, I would like a black olive. You're the only one that's going to eat it, and you're not going to eat a whole pie. We're going to spend all this extra money on a black olive, and you're not going to eat the whole thing. Right? Or like, I want sausage. And then the sausage comes, and she's like, oh, well, the pineapple looks better. I'm like, no, don't do this to me. You committed to sausage. The same thing happens with chips. See, it's a parable. I was coming back to it. It's a parabola. See,
but
you're the engineer. Parabola, right? What goes around comes around. Yeah, you get a bag of nacho cheese Doritos, and then the next day, the Call of Duty code is gone, and you have 3/4 of a bag of nacho cheese Doritos.
I see. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna belabor the point. I remain unconvinced, but I would like for us to pivot and just say it's not an issue with either of our methods. It's just an issue with the fact that chips are bottom tier when it comes to party food. Who goes to a party and is like, oh, I wonder what snacks we're gonna have. I hope they got me some. I hope they got me some Ruffles. I hope they got Lay's. No, you're like, oh, I hope someone made their butterscotch Rice Krispie treats. I said that 3 times yesterday before someone came over and brought them because I was that excited for them. Not once did I say, I hope someone's bringing barbecue chips.
All right, yeah, you're right, but that's also why I restricted you too.
Now, speaking of Super Bowl parties, and parties in general, we're having a viewing party right now for a movie.
Yeah.
So, CJ, you were the one who brought this movie to the table. Why don't you talk about what movie we're watching and why?
Yeah, I think I messaged you this morning, and for some reason, we're watching Die Hard, but for some reason, my brain was like, I can't wait to see Sam Jackson later. And I'm like, damn, that's the third one. With Jeremy Irons. No, so this is Die Hard, Bruce Willis action flick, 1988, and
Rated R.
Reginald Val Johnson and
action thriller.
Professor Snape, and it's
2
good.
hours and 12 minutes.
Okay, so great movie. You and I have both seen it, so this is the third movie in our 4-pack here. We did one movie that I'd seen and you hadn't. Mm-hmm. We did a movie that you'd seen and I hadn't, and now we're doing a movie we both have seen.
Yeah. So naturally,
the next
time we're watching a movie one of us made.
Yes, of course. Mm-hmm. That's the analogy. That
perfect.
On the what's the smart people Mensa on the Mensa test? That's the fourth answer.
Perfect.
It goes A, B, C,
I would
and
know.
then
I wrote the test.
You did, yes. Your future self. So there's a couple things I want to talk about this movie. A lot of people know Bruce Willis now as the quiet. Well, he doesn't do movies anymore. He unfortunately is going through a thing with dementia. But when he was making his movies, he had a lot of like strong, silent, annoyed, quiet, glaring at the camera type roles. Or like kind of goofy, kind of like we just have like that scene in Armageddon where they're like, oh yeah, we don't want to pay taxes ever again. You know,
never
stuff
seen
like
Armageddon.
that.
I don't know.
I've also never seen Armageddon. I've just seen that clip. Anyway, so he has a bunch of roles like that. But at the time, I think Bruce Willis was mainly known for comedy. He was in a sitcom called Moonlighting. It's a pretty funny show, but that's sort of where Bruce Willis kind of comes in. So it's a pivot for him to play the action star. And I think one of the reasons that it works so well, and we can talk about this a little more after we watch it, but he's sort of the everyman action star. Like he's just a dude, you know, they don't establish like he's not Rambo, right? No matter how interesting what he does is, or any of his spectacular feats, you can take it at its face that this guy's just a cop. Maybe he's a dickhead cop. Maybe he's a cop that shot a few people. But it's not like, have you seen his service record? You send him into Vietnam and he gets all the boys back alive. That's how I made him. He's a human weapon. No, he's not that. He's not Arnold. He's not Stallone, right? He sort of has this like, you could be Bruce Willis, right? You could be John McClane. And it has that sort of vibe and that feel to it. And also, I think in a really real and tangible way, it does the same thing with like his discomfort throughout the movie. Like how he has to deal with this is sort of like married with like his actual situation. And like he's getting hurt in a way that you and I might get hurt. Not like how Rambo comes out of the barn covered in soot with no burns, right? Like he's obviously affected by his surroundings. Nobody can shoot worth a damn, but that's all movies. So I'll be interested to see how that kind of holds up in my memory, because the first time that I saw this movie, I actually had never seen it. And then I had a high school teacher who basically called me out for never having seen Die Hard, but being a really big movie buff. And I went home that night and rented it from Blockbuster or something. And
If you fucking showed him.
yeah, and I was like, I'm going back to school tomorrow, and I'm going up to that. He wasn't even my teacher, and I'm going to go up to him and be like, "Hey, listen, I watched Die Hard."
How did he find out you didn't see Die Hard if he wasn't your teacher?
He was grilling another teacher on movie trivia, and I was butting in. And
were they doing this in the hallway?
It was like we had ninth period, which was like the optional period of the day. You could stay late if you wanted. And that guy came in at the end of the day to talk to my teacher about something.
Gotcha. And what time did you start school and end school?
In high school?
Sorry, just totally derail. Go on.
In high school?
No. We're not going down this road. It was a joke.
Hey, listen, guess what? Don't open cans of worms, man. I eat worms. I don't eat worms.
Quote, I eat worms.
Quote. No. Okay. There's also some kind of something interesting that I think maybe people know about. Maybe I think it's come up on Reddit a few times. So maybe there's some more penetration in people's minds on this particular subject. But something I don't think people are really aware of is like one of the set pieces of this movie is obviously it's Nakatomi Plaza, Nakatomi Tower, right? And, it's supposed to be, this Japanese owned corporation in San Francisco or whatever in California. And at the time there was this like sort of, Japanese sort of racist movement because they were coming into the Bay Area and they were buying real estate and they were settling companies. And so there's sort of this weird, timely anti-Asian sentiment hidden in the film because I'm saying hidden because it doesn't translate necessarily to today because I don't think people really know about it. It's the same. Have you ever heard of the clothing brand Lululemon?
Yeah.
And how the guy named his company Lululemon because it would be intentionally difficult for Japanese people to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like sort of like that. It's like, okay, in 2024, without the story, it doesn't register. It just sounds like a weird name for a legging company, right? So it's sort of like that. It's sort of like it's there, it's present. I think if you know that, and the reason I want to mention it going in, I think if you watch that with a slightly different lens, if you watch this movie with a slightly different lens and you have that loaded in your brain, I think you pick up on some other little things that maybe you don't pick up on the first time.
I'll definitely keep an. I'd never heard that before or heard about that.
Yeah, it's not a mistake. It's not like a main plot point of the movie by any means, but it's also not a mistake they named it Nakatomi Plaza, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or Nakatomi Tower.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was the plaza.
I think it is the plaza, but it's a big building.
I'll show you a big building.
Ugh. Right.
So you talked a bit about him being an everyman, and I like totally agree. That was whenever I hear people praise this movie, I feel like that's what they always harp on is the fact that he is just a regular dude. Like he's not. As we will see in a little bit, like he gets into horrible situations, gets by the skin of his teeth. He's always, like you said, covered in soot, all that kind of stuff. But something else that people don't really know going into this movie is that Bruce Willis, he used to have hair.
Yes, it's a well-kept secret. He held on to his hair for a little while. You can see he's losing the war at home. Like, he's starting to lose. I think by Die Hard 3, he's basically, his hair is a myth.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it's there, but not convincingly,
No. But that, you mentioning Die Hard 3 made me realize I hadn't even gotten to speak to my experience with the Die Hard series. So Die Hard was a movie for me that, to this day, I've seen it maybe once, but it was I think my dad showed my sister. I have an older sister. She's almost 6 years older than me. And
6 or 60?
Anyway, no, 6. So she was shown Die Hard when I was very little, and then like it just became like a talking point in the house. Oh, this Die Hard scene, that Die Hard scene. So I learned a lot about this movie and watched a lot of this movie just from reenactments from my family. So by the time I finally got around to seeing it, which wasn't until I was in my late teens or whatever, it felt like, oh, I know this scene. Oh, I've seen this scene. I've never seen any of the sequels other than what's the one? Oh, wait, no, weren't there 2 sequels in the 2000s?
A Good Day to Die Hard, I think, is the 5th one.
Okay.
That was the 2010s.
Okay.
And then
I definitely saw that one.
Hang on. So there's Die Hard, Die Hard 2. The third one is Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Uh-huh.
The 2007 one is Live Free or Die Hard.
I saw that one too.
Yeah, that's the one with Justin Long, I think.
Which one has Jai Courtney? Is that the
2015 one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his son, Jack, yeah.
Yeah. CJ's always going on about how Jai Courtney's his favorite character, actor, because his initials are JC, so it's like his name, but reverse. They're like yin and yang.
I don't like this for you.
But no, I haven't seen Die Hard 2 or 3. I saw the other ones when they were in theaters, and I feel like even before I watched this movie fully, around like a decade ago or so, I had seen a lot of it through clips when it was on TV at Christmas. CJ, is this a Christmas movie? We're going to ask this both before and after we watch it.
For the meme, I've always said yes.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely don't think that it is. Like actually, but it's like a cusper. It doesn't have a message about Christmas. Like, I think that's my thing. It doesn't have a message. The moral is not about Christmas. It just takes place at Christmas. Whereas I think all other Christmas movies have a meaning or a theme about the holiday. They don't just take place. Like, Charlie Brown Christmas is not Charlie Brown going to the dentist and it's Christmas Day. Right?
So, say, like, okay, there's like 2 recent movies that are just action movies that are Christmas themed. There was Violent Night. I think that's the one where David Harbour plays Santa. And I've heard it described as Die Hard, but it's like Santa. And then the other one is, I think it just came out starring Joel Kinnaman. And I think that's like, that one might be Silent Night. Where like he can't speak or something. Would you consider a movie like that where it's like it's just a straight up action movie but it's heavily Christmas themed? Would you consider that even though it doesn't have a Christmas message?
I think the one with Santa is different, you know, like the David, because that's like it has like the Santa iconography, whereas like Silent Night just takes place on Christmas Eve. I think that's going to be where, and I haven't seen either, but just going by your descriptions, that's how I would draw the line, you know?
Now, but here's the thing. This takes place on, to me, when I think Die Hard, you can't not describe like its meaning and everything without saying on Christmas, you know, like the message is you don't mess with John McClane and Nakatomi Plaza.
No, you're losing me. You're losing me. This movie's plot doesn't change.
You don't try and steal a bunch of money from Nakatomi Plaza during a holiday party on Christmas.
No.
You don't mess with a divorced cop on Christmas.
No. This movie's this is really the second criteria in my 2-prong criteria about Christmas movies. This is the Bechdel test, but this is the It's All Good test for Christmas movies. Does the plot of the movie change if you change the date to any other day of the year?
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. Make it any other holiday. It doesn't. There's
doesn't. Okay. oh, hey, guys, we're going to Nakatomi Plaza tonight to celebrate our Flag Day party at the office. No, it doesn't work. It's a holiday party. It's the only reason why people would gather at the office outside of work hours. No other reason, no other holiday. Hey, guys, it's Thanksgiving Day. Oh, it's the Halloween part. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
They could have made it a meeting.
If it were, who's going to have a meeting overnight? It doesn't work. Doesn't work. Why? Why would he be flying to her?
He's trying to make his marriage work.
No. It's Christmas.
I'm telling you, as your friend,
plus,
I can make a version of this script which doesn't include Christmas, and you wouldn't notice.
Yeah, okay, but then what are we going to talk about with like, ho, 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 I have a machine gun? That doesn't work if it's not Christmas.
That's compelling, I guess.
The movie doesn't work.
That one joke doesn't work.
How are we going to explain the Christmas trees everywhere if it's not Christmas, huh? It's a Christmas
scenery.
Movie. I think that it's a vital aspect and I think it's almost like a character to me.
You think Christmas is a character?
Christmas is the third lead in this movie, and I can't wait to be convinced even more so by watching it fresh and having it fresh in my mind.
All right. Is there anything else we want to talk about before we start the movie?
No, let's go now.
Okay. Wait, wait. That's not the now.
That's not the now, no.
No. I was like, wait a minute, really?
I'm overriding it.
I veto. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you want to watch Die Hard with us, if you haven't seen it or you just want to hear our opinion on it, you can pause the podcast now and listen to the companion audio track, which will be released alongside this podcast. If you don't want to listen to that version, you can continue listening to this podcast and will magically, through the power of audio editing, come back after having watched it.
And also worth mentioning real quick, you can find the link to the commentary companion track in the show notes for this episode.
So if you would like to stop the podcast and watch the companion audio, listen to the companion audio track with us, you can stop the podcast right now. A little horse.
You think that thing hangs dong?
Jesus Christ.
Very special friend.
CJ, am I more of a John McClane or am I more of a Hans Gruber?
You're more of a Hans Gruber.
There was zero hesitation there.
I didn't need to wait.
You know how to use a handgun, Bill?
I spent a weekend at a combat ranch. You know that game with the guns that shoot red paint?
No, I only played the one with blue paint. It's probably really different.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's been a few days for us, but for you, it's been only seconds. Ooh, spooky.
You scared me.
I know. I don't know what it is. I'm not sick, but like my throat is just like kind of like chalky. I'm gonna say chalky is the way you say it. Yeah,
have you been eating any chalk lately?
Yeah, you got me. That's it.
I knew it. I went to high school with a girl who ate chalk.
Did you really? She had pica?
Yeah. I think so. She actually just added me again as a friend on Facebook. I declined it because all she does is she posts about her OnlyFans and like posts her OnlyFans stuff to Facebook.
Yeah, I have a friend who does that. She made a separate Facebook, and she's like, I'm not checking this one anymore. So if you are now friends with me on my new Facebook, you have to opt in to my OnlyFans posts and tributes and stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, I really don't want to lose this connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I message her like all the time. So I was like, oh, okay.
Welcome to the world of seeing that.
Yeah. Like she does different. She sits in cake and stuff, you know?
Oh, she's a, what's it called? A squat cobbler or something like that. Cobbler squat.
Look, I'm not going to apply labels. I think that she does what she's paid to do. Somebody paid for that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like listen, make your money.
Yeah, I mean, you don't ever think about just sitting in a pie or sitting on a cake?
No, she thought it was fun. Like, she wasn't into it like that, but she thought it was kind of fun to like, oh, I'm going to buy this cake and sit in it. You know?
What a waste of cake, man.
I think the cake was still eaten for another customer, if I'm being honest.
Oh. I'd prefer the cake beforehand. I think that would probably taste better.
Objectively correct. You know what's funny? Yeah, we don't plan this because this is not what I wanted to talk about at all. I don't know how we got here.
Let's just enjoy the ride.
You know what I actually did want to talk about?
Yeah,
We're
I
talking
did
about-
know. I
No.
know exactly what you want to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
You know how shut up. You know how like we were talking about pizza last time?
Yeah.
That was like a couple days ago for us. But I was talking to somebody else and they were like, "Well, what did you order for the Super Bowl?" Cuz did we talk before the Super Bowl or after?
The day after.
The day after. Did I tell you what pizza
which again,
I ordered?
remember, the Super Bowl we watched on like Thursday. No, we recorded on Thursday. We DVR'd the Super Bowl and watched it Monday. Remember from the canon of the podcast?
I think I rejected your canon then, and I might be rejecting it now. But okay. So, any Hoosers, so I ordered pizza, and the pizza came, and it wasn't right. And I said, okay, well, under normal circumstances, I would just eat the pizza. However, it wasn't what I ordered, and so I called, and it's Super Bowl night. They're fucking busy, and I was like, hey, I didn't get what I ordered. So they put me on hold. They're like, well, you only ordered this. And I'm like, no, that's what the person taking my order put in. I actually ordered this. And she's like, okay, you have to pay the difference. Is that okay? And I said, sure. How much is the difference? So like $2. I'm like, so you're going to charge my card for $2? They said, yeah. I said, fine, do it. So they did. They added $2 basically onto my older bill that I already had. And then whatever. But I was kind of hungry, so I was like, oh, damn, I don't want to wait an hour and a half for them to get my pizza. So I started eating the other pizza, even though I didn't want it, and it wasn't what I ordered. And then I became worried that I'm like, oh my God, what if they want it back? And I'm like, they're not going to be able to give it to anybody.
Oh no. Okay.
So I spaced the slices out, so it looked like I only got 6 slices in a box. Didn't fool anybody, by the way, but it didn't matter because they didn't want it back. And I got the same delivery driver who was sorry, even though it was not her fault. And so I ordered what I got. I got a plain cheese pie, right? I ordered a Sicilian. And I don't know why. I was just feeling a Sicilian. And people have been telling me that I committed a Super Bowl Cuisinol faux pas. That you don't get a Sicilian for the Super Bowl. And I've had more than one person tell me this, by the way. And I got to tell you, fuck off. Like, it was good. It was awesome. It was more than awesome. It was like the best Sicilian I've ever had. And it was so worth the wait. And it cooked up as leftovers great. Up until Wednesday. I was putting it in the oven on Wednesday on the pizza stone, and it was basically like brand new pizza. So I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. Like, get wrecked. I don't care if I made a Cuisinol faux pas or not. I think I nailed it. I think I stuck the landing with my
as long
pizza.
As you think you stuck the landing, that's what's important.
Listen, I brought it up not because I think I did. I want to know what you, my very best friend, Tommy, thinks I did.
So here's the thing is, I don't think I've ever had a Sicilian pizza. Like almost nowhere by me serves Sicilian, or if everyone gets a tavern style thin crust or deep dish, mostly tavern style thin crust. So I like when we were just in Pittsburgh, people ordered Sicilian slices at that place we went to. And that was like, I think might be the first time I've ever seen Sicilian
That was
pizza.
ridiculous though. That was like that's what I would have gotten if I knew that's what it looked like. That's not a normal Sicilian.
What is it? What is a normal Sicilian?
Hang on. So imagine like a rectangle.
Yeah.
It's got a thicker kind of bready crust.
Yeah.
Like pillowy, but the edges are really hard and crackery.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's got a lot of sauce and a lot of cheese that goes over, but it's in a square.
Okay. Is it cut into like 6 slices?
It's cut. The place that I order from does an 8 and a 12.
Okay.
So it's
I have
just
a
another
question.
row. Okay, go ahead.
What's the difference between a Sicilian and a Detroit style pizza?
A Detroit style pizza is more like
It sounds like you just described a Detroit.
No,
style.
they're different. They're different. Hang on. Okay, they're thick and rectangular. Both of them are the same in that regard, right?
Mm-hmm.
A Sicilian is supposed to be heavier on the sauce.
Okay.
It's more proportional to a regular pizza.
Okay.
But a Detroit is supposed to be more heavy on the cheese.
Okay.
You got to think about what these pizzas, like one of the things I took away from our time in Pittsburgh is eating there, you get a sense of the story of the place that you're in. And the story of Pittsburgh is really filling, hearty meals. Like those sandwiches we had from Primanti Bros, those are meant to fill you up after a long, hard day of working outside, right? Just heaps of food. It's a working town, and it's working food. New York, everything's fast. The pizza's fast. You get 2 slices. They give you one while you're checking out, and then they don't heat it up. They just give you the other one because it's already hot. It's fresh. You try doing that in California, they got to heat it up. They got to clean the cutter. No, New York is fast. Everything's got to be fast. Fast, fast, fast. Everyone's on to somewhere to go. So if you can't get it to go, most people aren't eating it, right? Go, go, go. Dirty water hot dogs. Food carts are a big thing, right? It's like when you get like into Detroit, cold, like really cold. It's cold all the time. The winters there are really tough, right? Detroit style pizza is meant to be filling after like another thing, like working outside. You know, it's like the Steel City, right? No, that's the Pittsburgh. That's like the Motor City. All the automotive workers.
Driving all your cars, man, it gets you real hungry. You want to fill up so then you don't have to stop and drive anymore.
No.
Driving anymore. Yeah.
But like tray pizza is really popular in like Appalachia because those people were working in the coal mines all the time, and it was meant to be a cheap food that you could get a lot of because you were feeding a lot of people. So it's kind of like interesting how like stuff kind of translates. Like Chicago deep dish's origins are like, yeah, it's cold. It's a different kind of climate. And you can do that kind of pizza in Chicago. You can't do that kind of pizza in New York.
I mean, you can.
I've never seen anyone do it good.
Yeah, because freaking you got to be from Chicago to do it good, baby.
Well, then what did I just say? There you go.
Yeah, be from. Yeah.
Anyway,
no,
so there
New
you go.
Yorkers all. So, speaking, you talked about like all these different places and food, and you're talking like West Coast heating up. Speaking of West Coast, Die Hard. Freaking. What'd you think? You like it?
Oh yeah, really good.
Yeah?
Really good. Yeah, that movie's as good as I remembered it being.
Yeah.
And like no caveat to that, like that movie's just good. It so strikes me, like when we were watching it, we were just getting quiet. And like, I feel like if you listened along with us and like as part of your viewing experience, maybe that's like not great production, but genuinely like we were just enjoying it. Like there was nothing to clown on really. Like it was just good, well paced, nothing overstayed its welcome. Like everything got in, got out, got in, got out. You know, if by the end you were kind of tired of Argyle, then that's like it. But like that's it. Like everything else is like super quick and snappy and just it hits. The police don't show up until hour 2. It's a 2-hour movie. You know,
yeah,
like,
they show up right at the halfway point because I made a comment on it when we were watching it.
I guess how would you say that? If the first hour is 0 to 59, the second hour, right?
Yeah.
Or is that after the first? However you want to say it. But all right, now is time. What did you think about it?
Wow, you were just gonna skip right over me.
I wasn't. I remember.
Ready to?
No.
I loved it. It was so good. Crazy seeing Bruce Willis have hair, and that alone made me love it.
Yeah, it was pretty good there too. He had hair.
Yeah, no, it was
on the way out, but
it was good. But no, the movie's fantastic. I mean, it's a classic. I understand why. Like CJ said, it's good. It's straight up good. We can talk more about it in a little bit, but just man, the pacing is so solid and just constantly the stakes are always changing.
Yeah. Yeah, the stakes are always changing and nothing ever feels like... Sometimes in these action type movies, it feels like an ass pull when the things change all the time. Everything felt very organic. Like the power struggle felt very organic. Because even though he didn't feel like he had the upper hand for a little while. And then when it felt like they had the upper hand, he actually was in control, right? So it's like funny how it works. And it created a whole genre of action, right? Like Die Hard is like in term of use as like a genre, you know? Like we were talking about doing a Die Hard. So no, it was good. Should I jump into the
why don't you recap it? Recap us.
So if you've never seen Die Hard and you didn't hear us you didn't listen to us watch it. This is what happens in Die Hard, okay? So John McClane is Bruce Willis. And Bruce Willis is on a plane. And he's going to California. Knows how to party. And funny enough, there actually is a party because it's Christmas time. So he gets picked up from the airport by Argyle, who's a limo driver and way younger than I remembered him being. And we're like listening to like hip hop, like late 80s, early 90s hip hop. And it's like, okay, cool. We're going to Nakatomi Plaza. And then Holly, who is his wife, who I don't remember her actress's name, is there with Mr. Tagami or whatever his name was. The boss man.
I didn't even remember the wife's name.
Holly Gennaro. See, they're having some marital problems. They don't get into it too much, but she got a big job, which turned into a wonderful career. And, it's hard being a cop, but also he feels displaced because, his manhood's on the line. His wife is suddenly, and this is the 80s, people. You got to remember, that's a big thing. She's corporate woman and he's blue collar cop. So their marriage is on the rocks. She lists her name as Gennaro and it causes a thing. Well, that's an important detail. So Bruce Willis shows up at the party, and he goes in the bathroom because this dude on the plane's like, dude, whenever you get where you're going, take your shoes and your socks off and make fists with your toes on the carpet. He does that, and then fucking Severus Snape shows up with his really small-footed terrorist, which I promise is a plot point, that comes up more than once with European cigarettes. They take over the party. Bruce Willis is like, nope. And goes upstairs. He sees more of the terrorists, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And
he
then
left his shoes behind.
And he left his shoes behind. Yes, so he's barefoot and backwards in this plaza, a hotel. So then they take Mr. Tagami, and they're like, "Give us the code to the vault." And he's like, "That code won't do you any good. We're still going to develop the region." And he's like, "Well, I have no doubt you're going to develop the region. Give me the code." And then the two guys have a bet, and then they shoot the guy in the face because it really wasn't ever about him. They were hoping that he would open the vault, but it didn't matter because they weren't there for the vault. They weren't there for him. They were there for the vault. So then the guy who's like the safe cracker guy, he's going to drill a hole, but there's one lock that no matter what they do, they can't open. Cool. So they shoot him, and then this guy, Beta Cuck, what's his name? Thorbson. He's this guy, he has like little round glasses. He gets into a fight with Bruce Willis, and he's like, "You're a policeman. There are rules for policemen." Anyway, they fight. John McClane breaks his fucking neck in the stairwell. On accident. Yep, that was an accident. Then, on purpose, he tapes him to an office chair and writes with his blood on his sweatshirt, "Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho." Then they tell his brother...
Alan Rickman?
Yeah. No.
Alan Rickman's here?
Yeah, Severus Snape.
Alan, I have questions for you. First off, how you been? I thought you died.
I've been dead for many years, Mr. Potter.
Whoa, why?
Yeah.
Is that because I have glasses? Is this like focalism? Is this like your
father was a slacker, Potter? Like that.
Oh, interesting. All right, well, I'll let you go, Alan Rickman, so CJ can continue.
Goodbye. Yeah, all right. So then Turd Ferguson, the discount Dolph Lundgren, is like, all right, that was my brother. I'm so angry. Throw the chair. And then, so Holly is like, oh my God, John is in the building. And there's this douchebag who gave her a watch who's like Ellis. And he's like, hey, Holly, we just gotta close this deal.
He's like, he's absolutely coked up out of your mind, his mind. And it's just like, imagine like a guy like always smiling, head kind of up when he's saying that. And like every time he's like moving his head back and forth a lot when he's like kind of Night at the Roxbury vibes.
Can I tell you, this is my description of that guy. He smiles all the time and acts like he's happy because that's what he's seen happy people do, but I don't think he's ever known happiness. So he thinks that you get there by smiling. That's why he smiles. Anyway, so he's like,
make it, baby.
Yeah, so he's like, John's gonna fuck this all up. So then John continues his killing spree, and at one point he gets a baggie, and the baggie's got the goods in it. It's got C4, he's got the detonators, and then nobody's coming to help. He tries to call the fire department. The terrorists have cut the phones. They're also not terrorists, they're bank robbers. The robbers have cut the phone lines. They've got a guy in the lobby. He calls, John McClane pulls the fire alarm. The fire alarm goes off. They don't come. They come, then they turn around. Then he tries to use the radio to call an emergency, and the cops are like, dude, this is an emergency line. He's like, yeah, lady, what do you think I'm doing? Ordering a pizza? Right? And then they're like, send a black and white. So they send Reginald VelJohnson, a.k.a. the dad from Family Matters, and he's like, looks fine. And then John throws a fucking corpse out the window onto his car. He has some Vietnam flashback. He goes backwards through a shrub. All right. Now, there's fewer terrorists than there were before. I mean, bank robbers than there were before. And now it's like, my name's Roy Rogers. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. And he's like,
Bruce Willis, you're here now too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
so
I'll let you go too.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. So
he's so rude.
Yeah, I know. So he's getting in a phone sex relationship with Reginald VelJohnson. We're halfway through the movie at this point. Holly is like, hey, unless you want it messy out there, you need to start taking us in groups to the bathroom because we're going to wet ourselves and not everyone's into that. And Hans Gruber's like, nah, dude, I'm not into that. We're going to start taking you to the bathroom and we're going to give you a couch. He's in Holly's office. And so she's like going out and he goes, what was your name? And she goes, Holly Gennaro. And he's like, very good, Holly Gennaro. See, because she doesn't have the last name McClane, she wasn't found out that she was Roy Rogers, a.k.a. Bruce Willis, a.k.a. John McClane's wife, which allows her to act as a sort of anonymous passerby and allow him to continue his bloodlust. He offs a bunch more, including shooting one guy in the dick from under a table. And then he sees Hans. And Hans is like, please, don't kill me. He's like doing this really weird accent, like he's from Texas, and he's like, please don't kill me. And then
is that your from Texas accent?
That's Hans Gruber doing his Texas accent. Okay. He's like,
I would say his accent is a bit more normal sounding than that.
But despite all of the times that Bruce Willis and Hans Gruber have interacted, they've never seen each other. So Hans Gruber realizes that this is Bruce, but Bruce Willis doesn't realize this is Hans Gruber. So he gives him a gun. Alan Rickman goes to shoot him, and then he's like, what, you thought I was going to give you a gun, asshole? And then his asshole buddies come up the stairwell. That's when they get back the detonators, and you're like, well, CJ, why do they have detonators? Because they want to get the FBI involved. So now, not Argyle, what's his name? Freddie Freeman. Theo is at the final lock, which is you can't get in without the password. Doesn't matter. So then they're like, what if we just turn the power off? And then he's like, oh, you can do that? And so they get the FBI. The FBI cuts the power. Also, there's a cop. The cop chief's an asshole, but then the FBI guys come, Johnson & Johnson, and they're really big assholes. They're bigger assholes than the chief cop. So then the asshole FBI agent's like, oh, we're going to cut the power, then we're going to kill all the hostages. The plan for the robbers is to get away in the back, go out the back door while they blow up the helipad, because then everyone will think that they're dead and the FBI did it. The FBI comes, literally playing Fortunate Son on the way. They're going like 6 feet off the ground through the streets of Los Angeles with a
whipping
fucking
around.
Yeah, it ain't me, like that. And then he's like, get some, just like Saigon, baby. Yeah, like that. Then they lure all the hostages up to the roof, and then John McClane's like, get off the roof, like that scene in Mulan. Get off the roof. Then the fucking roof blows up, destroys the FBI guys. They go, oh, we're going to have to get out different FBI guys. And now I know what you're saying. Where's Argyle? Argyle's been locked in the parking garage the whole time. Didn't know anything was going on. He's just jamming out.
This would be me. This, like, I cannot relate to a character more than I did Argyle in this movie.
Yeah.
Just finding myself in a situation where I'm like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah. Theo is like, I'm getting away in the van. So Argyle's like, no, you don't. I'm going to drive my fucking limo through your truck. And he fucking knocks Theo out. Then, I guess we're going to get to this. So there's this whole plot point where Al, the cop, is like, I can't shoot nobody. That's why I'm a desk jockey. And my wife's pregnant and I've been buying her Twinkies. And everyone's like, sure, that's why you're buying Twinkies. Uh-huh. Yep. Uh-huh. So then Bruce Willis, it's discovered that Holly is Holly McClane because Ellis tried to get John to give himself up, and instead they killed Ellis because John's like, I don't fucking know you, asshole. And he tried to get him to admit that, but Ellis is like, nah, John, you're my best friend. And so they shoot him in the head. Then they find out that Holly's actually Holly McClane because there's this asshole news reporter who plays such a small part except getting punched in the face. And that's how they find out that it's Holly McClane. He finds out that he's in Holly McClane's office. There's a picture of her and John. So then he takes her hostage. They go up. The power's been cut off, which opens the last seal on the vault, which allows them to take the millions of bearer bonds in there. Then John McClane jumps off the roof after it blows up with a fire hose, and he's like, damn, my feet. I wasn't wearing shoes. They're covered in glass. I have 2 bullets, and they've got my woman.
Well, the glass thing, maybe you went over it. This movie is so just bouncing around between 4 floors. I'm so glad you're the one recapping because I'm just like, I know everything that happens, but I cannot tell you the order because it's so...
So at one point, when
frantic.
the assholes got off the elevator and they're like, get him, he's got the detonators. They shot the glass around him so that without his shoes, he would have to run through the glass. So he's got glass feet, right?
That's what my grandma calls me.
Yeah, glass feet, yeah. And so he goes up to like the second to last floor with the thing. There's 2 guys there, Hans Gruber and the guy who replaced the guy at the front desk, who just had to watch football and be not suspicious the whole time. So also the cops tried to go in and they blew them up with a rocket launcher. Anyway, that wasn't really that important to the plot. Just know there was nobody getting into that building except John McClane. That was what the movie was trying to tell you.
Also, you should mention the guy who John fights in the upstairs when all the people...
right. So before he goes to kill Hans and get his woman back, he fights Discount Dolph Lundgren, and he chokes him to death with some chains. But my favorite part about that fight scene is that he's like, come here, motherfucker, come here, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Because that's exactly what I'd be doing if I was in a fight to the death. Like, you fucking asshole, come here, you motherfucker, I'm gonna fucking... That's what I'd be. I'd be so angry. Right. So he
if I ever hear you start saying that to me, run.
Yeah. Yeah. If we're engaged in combat and I start cursing under my breath, yes, run. So the guy's like choked to death, quote unquote. He goes up to the roof to get his woman and fight them. He surrenders. And they're like, and Hans Gruber's like, yippee-ki-yay, motherfuck. And everyone starts laughing, and it's like, ha 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 ha. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is really funny. And they go to kill him, and he's like, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker! And he's got a gun taped to his back. He shoots the one guy through the eyes and then the other guy in the stomach. And Hans Gruber's like, huh? 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 Hey, I'm going to take Holly with me. He doesn't say anything. He's just gasped for air. He goes backwards through the window, and then he's about to take Holly with him, but he's holding on to her watch, which was given her by Ellis. So it's a Rolex, by the way. It's real. John unclasps the Rolex, and he falls to his death. And the cops at the ground are like, ugh, Jesus. Ugh, I'm not cleaning that up. And then the day has been saved. John got his woman back. He's got glass in his feet. Argyle drove through the barricade, which was just like one of those wire fences that they have at like the parking garage.
Mall. It's like what Spencer's closes up with at 5:30 at the mall.
And he went through it like a door, like a piece of wood. And I'm like, you could have done that the whole fucking time. He picks up John and Holly, but not before the reporter who was being an asshole the whole time was like, hey, do you have anything you want to say? And they punch him in the face because they went to their house and talked to the kids. And then he's like, you got that right. And then they drive away listening to like Run DMX.
There's one thing you forgot.
What
when
happened?
They're exiting the building.
Oh, yeah. So when they're exiting the building, it's like, oh, the day has been saved. And then they hug. Him and Al hug because they've never met each other. And then Discount Dolph Lundgren is suddenly there. And he gets up and he's like, Argh! And then John's like, Doc! And he like throws himself on top of his wife. And he gets killed by Reginald Vell Johnson. And it feels like he should have had a catchphrase, but he didn't. No,
he just did he have a tear running down his cheek?
No, I don't know about that. But anyway, he beat him. He killed the guy.
It was a dramatic focus shift.
Then they nod.
To show that it was him.
Yeah, then they nod, and then they leave.
Okay, so real quick, I just want to talk about that last thing real quick. First off, the fact that, as you named him, Discount Dolph Lundgren, made it down like 34 stories that fast. How did he do that?
It's a really good question. I don't know. Because as you may recall, I said he had choked. He was guillotined by...
And he was near the explosion on the roof.
Oh, yeah. He was like left there to die.
Yeah. Second thing, it's insane. Of course, like this movie came out and when? Like, what year was it? Like 88 or some shit.
Yeah.
Insane. Like, it's the 80s, so whatever. But that Reginald Vell Johnson's character arc is, I killed a kid and now I can't kill people because I have trauma. I got over my trauma and I can kill again. Insane. Insane character arc. I love it.
It's like it's rushed a little bit, and it's not like he grows at all. He doesn't like have this moment of growth where he learns how to kill again. He just figures out that the ability to kill was inside him the whole time.
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah, the first time I watched the movie, I didn't give a fuck that he shot a kid. It seems way more relevant now.
Right?
As like motive to not want to shoot somebody else again. But it's also, that also makes it feel like fiction.
Yeah. Just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But did you have anything in particular with this movie you wanted to dive more into?
I remembered all the beats of the movie. I forgot how it's like you said, it's hard to remember how they fit together because you're just going up and down like 4 different floors, basically. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of it's all an office, so it kind of blends together. And I think that the movie does a really good job of like rest and action. And even though it's hard to remember like all of the specific story beats in the order, it's not hard to remember the beats themselves, right? Because the movie's really good at keeping a good pace. And I say this all the time, and it's because it's good criticism. Nothing ever outstays its welcome. If this were another hour, this movie would be insufferable. Impossible to watch.
Go
ahead.
I think that the movie, like you said, part of it is almost every scene is so iconic. It's so novel. It's well done. It's like, the glass bit with his feet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's so much, and similar to when we watched Jurassic Park, it's like, it feels like for the first hour, every moment is set up for the last hour. Every single, and they do such a good job really early on establishing, hey, the party's on the 30th floor. The 31st floor is like offices. The 32nd floor is construction. The 33rd floor is like whatever, like stairwell. 30, and then it's the roof. Like, and like right away they lay out, these are like the 3 or 4 floors that are at play.
And then
it's
they literally show you can't go to the other floors.
Mhm.
Like they lock them out. Remember when they get on? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it's so well done. And like we said with earlier, the stakes are just constantly shifting. You never have a moment to get too comfortable with what's going on. It's like once you kind of settle into a moment, then something happens that shifts the power dynamic, like you mentioned. Like John McClane the entire time is just inching and crawling his way to just barely scrape by and get the slightest advantage. And once he has the minor advantage, then the terrorists, they do something like, it's like, oh, all right, well, we just rolled in our rocket launchers. It's just like immediately power imbalance again. And it's like, it never feels contrived. It always feels like this was part of our plan. Like logically, the feds would show up. We want that. We are prepared for that. It's never like, oh, I knew you were going to do that, so let me whip out my pocket rocket launcher,
Yeah. No, you make a really good point, because he starts off with just his service weapon, which we find out basically in the first scene that he has a gun. Because he's a cop. And he's been doing it for X amount of time. Then they have a machine gun. He gets a machine gun. Right, he gets basically a lighter. He gets a radio. Now the plane has been leveled. Now there's multiple of them. Now they have C4. Now they have detonators. Now they have rocket launchers. Now they have rifles. Right, like
and he has the C4 then.
Yeah, and so it's constantly like okay, he's outnumbered. He's outmatched. Then they level it. Then he gets outnumbered again. Like they show you that they're capable by destroying an armored vehicle. So. And
then at the same time, they show that he can get the one up on them, where like he is collecting intel on them. He's keeping track of all of their names on his forearm. He's keeping track of how many there are and counting them. And like, it's just, it's a good way to make a good movie is to make sure you're writing smart characters. And pretty much, other than Ellis, whose role is like he's the dumb guy who shoves his foot in his mouth and puts John at risk, everyone is, acting intelligently. John McClane is doing the stuff I just said. Hans Gruber is doing all the planning and whatnot. Holly Gennaro, she thinks really quickly on her feet. She is able to throw her weight around with Hans and like actually get stuff out of him, and like it seems like earn some respect from him. I feel like there was one moment where she kind of put him in his place when she was asking about like the bathroom thing. We're like, oh my God, Hans just fell in love with her.
Yeah, we did. We definitely made that point. No, it's funny because and she was 80s hot too. She was good for that movie.
Yeah. Okay. You said this like right at the beginning. She's 80s hot. I'm like, what is 80s hot? What is the difference between 80s hot and now? Put you on the spot now. What is the difference?
Okay. So imagine like
I did not get a straight answer out of you.
80s style, right? Like the big teased hair and like the shoulder pads and stuff like that. Like the stuff that they wore in the 80s, the 80s style, the fashion, the way that they did their hair, the way that they did their makeup. It really suited her.
Okay.
In that way. Versus like, would the same actress look good like with like filled in eyebrows and like really like with bangs and like leggings and like, I don't know, like I guess she'd still have to be like, business attire, but I'm just saying like she really fit the aesthetic of the time. And she looked really good for the time that she was in. I didn't do a great job of explaining it.
What probably helped with that is the fact that she was from that time.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying but if you took someone, like not everybody looked good dressed like that in the 80s. And again, she's an actress. I'm just saying she's 80s hot.
Gotcha.
I'm going to stand by that.
Fair enough. Would you say she is, or do you have any favorite favorite actors or performances in this? Any favorite characters?
Well, obviously, Alan Rickman plays a fantastic villain. I think this launched his acting career, basically. He started really, really late. He's phenomenal in this because he is the calm, cool, collected, I've thought of this. Even when everything's going wrong, he's like, nobody has to panic, right? He's also ruthless because he's like, I'm going to count to 3. There will not be a 4, right? And then he does it. He's not all talk. He will just shoot you in the fucking head. He kills 2 people and just shoots them in the fucking head. And like the audience is like right there. It's not like he shoots them. He does shoot them off screen, I think, but you're there in the room, you know? So it's like he's phenomenal in that role. And I don't think of him as Alan Rickman in playing that character. I think of it as being its own character. Also because he was kind of younger and everything, you know, like it was kind of a little bit different. But like, I don't think about him in the same way that I think of when I used to watch the Harry Potter movies. I'd be like, this is Alan Rickman playing Severus Snape. I don't see him, and he did a really good job with that character too. But I'm saying like, I know him now. I know what he does and what he brings to a role and how he talks and kind of how he performs. And I know that of him. When it's his first real role in a movie, it's like, oh, I don't have this loaded in my brain already. You know what I mean? So this role stands out for me in a lot of ways. Also, Bruce Willis is really good. He's a great everyman. And you just feel it. You know, he's tired. He's stressed. He's frustrated. You feel it too, because you're like, why aren't they helping him? Why are you not helping? Where's the cavalry? You know, even when he gets help, they're just like, they just are like, we're going to arrest you, pal. And he's like, okay, if I live, you can arrest me. You know, we all know that, especially like when you have like a fucking pain in the ass boss at work. Like, okay, you can write me up after the shift. How about that? Let's get through the shift and then you can yell at me. You know, it's just like, it's really good. So I think those 2 performances in particular, and obviously Argyle.
Yeah. I think, I mean, you pretty much picked the 3 that I was going to call out as well. Specifically, like, I don't know what it is with Bruce Willis, but I feel like this movie, like, it's so, like, writing is a big thing for me. Writing is what I try and pay attention to, how well something like paced and how it all flows. And I don't know what it is, but this movie, I can't put it to words, but just feels very symbiotic with Bruce Willis. Like, it feels like the material really elevates him, but at the same time, it feels like he also really elevates what's on the page for this movie. Like, I don't know. It's just, he's the perfect John McClane. He's absolutely perfect in the role. I can't think of a single action star who would be a better pick for John McClane. Like you said, he's a great everyman. He feels so, at least in the 80s, Bruce Willis, he feels so human, you know, he feels like just a dude thrown into this situation.
Yeah, and I think that's really like something I harp on, because he eventually becomes the oversaturated, I'm going to put you in the pew pew gun shooting movie guy, or the cop guy. That's what he becomes. The strong, silent, angry, everyman, white America mouthpiece. Which
I feel like is a common thing for like almost every action star. Like, yeah. RoboCop, you know, it's a very sharp satire, and then it just turns into that. Rambo, it's a movie criticizing the treatment of Vietnam vets, and then it just turns, he's beheading people and like, I don't even know where in the last one. It's like the goriest movie I've ever seen. It's crazy how so many of these movies miss the point once they start making sequels.
Well, my mom told me this when I was a kid, that I was a kid, so she used a movie that I was familiar with pretty well as a kid. She was talking about Home Alone. She said the first Home Alone is about a movie about being careful what you wish for, and there's a moral, and they learn a lesson, and whatever. The second movie exists because the first movie did really well. Right? And so they do it again. as improbable as that scenario is, that you would, in back-to-back Christmases, forget your son at home in 2 consecutive years, or the fact that he got put on the wrong plane pre 9/11, I guess it's possible. The fact that he just walked onto a plane and is like, that's my dad. And they were like, fine, let's go. I don't care. And then he was in New York and no one could get a hold of him for a week, right? A problem that only exists in a world pre-cell phone, right? Because if you had a cell phone, they would just be like, hey, mom, I'm okay. I'm in New York. Okay, cool. We're gonna call and have them fly you to Paris. Okay, cool. Thanks. Right? That's all. That's literally it. Literally it. But the second movie, it just exists because the first one was successful. And so when you do that, you're just only focusing on the things that people liked about it. And so what do people like about Rambo? They like that Rambo shoots people. They like that Rambo is gruesome. They like that he doesn't talk a lot. They like that it's military themed and he's just going to go crazy. Right? What do they like about Home Alone? They like the part where he beats up the fucking people for trying to break into his house. They like the funny bits at the end. What do they like about Die Hard? They like Bruce Willis. They like the shooting. They like the explosions. They don't like the plot. It's like...
Man, studio executives are so smart.
Yeah, there you go.
They're so smart.
Hey, listen, they have a better track record than we do at making movies. I don't like studio executives, but still.
I'm not going to sit here and go to a bat against or for studio executive. I think whatever. Favorite parts, CJ. CJ, do you have any favorite parts in this movie?
What is my favorite part? It's so hard. It's just good. I would say probably it's not the ending. It's probably when he fights Discount Dolph Lundgren's little brother.
Mm-hmm.
I love that fight for some reason.
What, the one where he accidentally kills him?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one because it does immediately raise the stakes. It goes from him being there and in hiding to all of a sudden they're aware of someone's presence. It's a great moment. I personally, and maybe having seen the movie multiple times now, I love the first, once he's at the office and everything, I just love how much setup they do in such a short amount of time. We're seeing the party, they're just talking about all the setup, or they're explaining, like I said, the story, the different stories and what's on each one. And very quickly you get an idea for this contained environment and the stage is just set. And I just found that was really, really well done. And definitely when I watch it again in the future, whenever the next time is, I'm just going to be being like, oh, I can't wait to see what else they set up in this moment that I missed out on.
Yeah. So you going to give it a thumbs up?
I am, but before we do that, CJ.
Yeah.
During the movie, I asked you how you thought you would fare in this situation.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
We gave you a hypothetical of there's 6 terrorists. They don't know you're there. How many are you taking out?
Okay, hang on. For the people that didn't listen to the watch along, it's Die Hard. I'm getting the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
6 terrorists. Do I start with a gun?
Mm-hmm. You start with a pistol, and again, the way I worded this was, do you think you could beat a Die Hard?
And I said no. But I said I could take out 3 guys.
Insane to me. Insane.
You don't think you're getting anybody?
Maybe one.
Okay. Listen, you're being honest with yourself, and that's really important. Look, okay.
On a good day, I'm getting 1. 4 out of 5 times, they catch me as I'm running down the hallway to the stairs. I trip on the carpet, and then I get rug burn on my knee, and they're like, what was that? And then they catch me right away.
I think in a fight to the death, I at least take out 1 person. A fist fight to the death.
Okay.
I've put too many skill points in my life into hand-to-hand combat to not beat one person to death.
Mm-hmm.
So that's free.
That's free. Oh, it's free. I could beat someone. Okay, go on.
Yeah. I don't know why. Okay, you're laughing. Listen. Don't put me in a cage with a tiger, but a man, a regular dude. Yeah, I got this.
Okay.
Okay.
How okay, go on.
I have never discharged a firearm in my life.
Mm-hmm. See, immediately that seems like something that's going against you in this situation.
I am actually anti-gun.
Okay.
But life or death, hypothetical, I feel like I could get one guy with the gun.
Life or death, I could figure out how to use a gun.
Does it come loaded?
I don't know.
Well, this is your hypothetical.
It depends on whether or not the dude the gun you're starting with. Yeah, the handgun comes loaded, but like,
okay, there you go.
Do you know how to turn the safety off?
It's a little thing on the side.
I hope so.
Listen, I think that I can get one guy hand to hand, free.
Okay.
I think with a
That's
full
your free
clip,
space.
with my full clip, I'll get somebody.
Okay.
Maybe I shoot him in the thigh and he dies on his way to the hospital, but I think I get somebody.
Okay.
Okay. The third guy, I feel like I kill by accident. Like John McClane on the stairs. I'm hard to move. I'm a big guy.
But they have guns.
Yeah. And they're probably going to kill me, because I'm not very fast. But if one-on-one, no problem. Then I think I get one guy with the gun. Everyone in that building is dead. I'm dead. The hostages are dead. The terrorists win. But I feel like I get 3 of them on the way out.
Yeah, you're just helping them out. Really, you're making the cut bigger for the other guys.
Hey, listen, I'm fine with that.
Wow, so CJ's on Team Terrorist. You heard it here.
If maybe they could pay for my funeral.
Oh, maybe that'd be kind of nice of them.
Yeah, it would be nice. I'm just saying, like, you don't have the confidence in yourself in your everyday life that you think that you could survive like a fight to the death.
I mean, I don't think about this often.
Well, we're talking about it right now.
I know. Wait, real quick side note. How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Well, I did watch Rome on HBO, so sometimes.
It was like once a week, once a month?
No, like irregularly.
Okay. Just curious.
Why?
No, I have never even thrown a punch in my life.
I think, like if you're in a room, right? I used to do this all the time. I think about this all the time. If someone walks into a room and they're kind of seedy, I'm like, okay, what happens if that guy just fucking goes crazy? And then I got to fight him.
What? Define crazy. Like takes a shoe off and starts hitting himself on the head. It's like, I'm crazy, guys. I'm crazy.
Like in school, I'd imagine like someone coming in to like attack the school. And I'd be like, I'm going to run at him. I'm going to fight him. And then, yeah. Like, I would just play that in my head. I'm like, this guy's here to kill me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like, you have a compulsive urge to be the hero.
I don't have a compulsive urge to be the hero. That's not how I would describe it. I have a compulsive urge to not die.
Okay. See, I do as well. So, like, first scenario like this, I'm freaking jumping out the window. Yeah.
But you're going to kill yourself.
No.
Yeah. Like, you're going to jump up the 30th floor, Tommy, and you're going to go wings.
I would probably, try and get out and then just take the elevator down to the lobby.
Nah.
Oh, wait, no, they're down there. I would take the elevator down to like the 2nd floor and just shimmy my way to the ground.
I'm not a shimmier.
Okay. See, I think I could shimmy a little bit. I like to shimmy shimmy at the karaoke bar.
You can soft shoe it. I can't. No one has ever accused me of sneaking up on them in their life.
I don't know, man. You at GDQ, I wanted to put a bell on you at times. You
That
snuck
can't
up
be
right
true. right.
One other thing with this movie we have to talk about. CJ, having watched it freshly, is it a Christmas movie?
Oh, this fucking thing. Yeah, it's a fucking Christmas movie. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I want him over.
Yeah, because guess what? That's what he did the whole fucking time.
It's a Christmas movie.
Couldn't do that if it was Easter.
A lot of the movie doesn't work if it's at another holiday. Or it just wouldn't take place. Because, like I said, they don't have fucking Flag Day parties at offices. They have Christmas parties, man.
Did I ever tell you that I broke up with a girl on Flag Day and she sent me a text back that said, I can't believe you've done this on Flag Day?
Wow. Was Flag Day really serious for her?
I guess so. She was very patriotic.
Very vexillological. Vexillological, what's the term for that?
Yeah.
Anyway, CJ, let's talk about it. Is this movie okie dokie? Is this film okie dokie?
The film is okie dokie. Yeah, 1 thumbs up.
Yeah, you're giving it a thumbs up. I'm gonna also give it a thumbs up. So that's certified. Art is okie dokie smoky artichoke.
Yeah, the soda.
No.
It's the Pop Award.
The Pop Award. Certified Pop Award.
Yeah, it's so
but,
stupid. Pop stands for Smoky Okie Artichoke Dokie
Award.
Which smells pop.
So this is the third movie we're watching. All three have been certified by both of us. This is crazy.
It is crazy. We need to shake it up.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I might have a movie that might shake it up for at least one of us next week.
Okay, go ahead.
And it's a movie neither of us are next week. We're gonna probably find
Next
time to
time.
record this in like a month. Let's be real. It's a movie neither of us have seen. So
Okay, how does it connect to Die Hard?
well, I'm not sure if you knew this, CJ, but Die Hard was part 1 of our TV dinner movie duology.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That's a good one.
So in the movie, Bruce Willis is climbing through an air vent, and he says, "This is now I know what a TV dinner feels like."
Uh-huh.
What is a common food included in TV dinners? Chickens.
Oh.
So CJ, next time on is the film is okie dokie. We're watching Chicken Run.
Dude, this is either going to be really funny or really awful.
I can't wait. How do you do with claymation?
I'm not afraid of
stop
claymation.
motion. Okay.
No, this came up the other
someone who
day.
was afraid of claymation.
Yeah, someone was talking to me about this the other day. They thought I was afraid of claymation. I'm just afraid of everything else.
Commitment.
I don't know anything about the movie. I think there's a chicken that rides a motorcycle.
Okay.
If there isn't, I'm going to be really annoyed.
Okay. Just like how the Jeep was a main character in Jurassic Park.
It was.
It was a Ford Explorer, bro.
The Jeep.
Anyway.
The Jeep.
Thank you for listening.
What do you mean it wasn't a Jeep?
It's a Ford Explorer, bro.
Bullshit. It was a Jeep.
No, the opening car that they ride in off the tracks is a Jeep, and then they get in the Ford Explorers during all of the crazy shit with the T-Rex.
In Jurassic Park?
Yeah, it's a
The
Ford
movie
Explorer.
I watched?
Yeah, it's a Ford Explorer. The two ones that are like green and yellow that they're like
Why would they get
at the
out of a
T-Rex
Jeep?
paddock. Because the Jeep is the oh my god, now we're rehashing Jurassic Park. So the Jeep is the vehicle they drove around the island. The Ford Explorer is the vehicle for the tour. They were on the tour on the tracks in the Ford Explorers when the T-Rex stuff all happened. And then that's the car that the kids are in when the sunroof gets popped down, you know?
Fuck
the Jeeps
that.
don't have the roof.
Fuck that. Fuck you. All right. It's a fucking Jeep broke. All right, come on. Let's edit it.
Ford. So thank you for listening. CJ, what's all this stuff that you say at the end? I should probably write this down.
Oh, Well, thank you, everybody. Let me get my podcast voice on. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of The Film is Okie Dokie. If you listen to the companion audio track, thank you very much. We try and do this regularly. If you like the podcast, you can subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcast. Remember to like. If you don't, give us 5 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. I stole that from Bomani Jones. He's no longer with ESPN. He's on Wave Sports. So thank you so much, everybody who listens to the show, supports the show. We really, really appreciate you. Tune in next time. We're going to be watching and talking over Chicken Run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until next time, I'm CJ.
I'm Tommy.
And this has been The Film is Okie Dokie.
Peace.
Peace. It's not it's a Jeep, dude.
It's not.